I will point out something that might be somebody might be thinking. It's like, well, if they did the 20-year plan in 2016, then we should be good until 2036, right? Mm-hmm. That's not the case. When you read it, that's not what they did. They didn't do like 20 years forward. We're going to kind of roadmap this. So like what we're hoping it looks like in 2035. It doesn't really read like that. If anything, it specifically states in there that they're supposed to redo the updated general plan in 2017, and then they just didn't. We just never got to that.
Well, it should be a scientific document, or in other words, like a living document where you've got a base. Okay, so the base was set in 2016, but obviously we're not just going to set it and forget it, and then in 2036 look back and be like, okay, here's what we did.
How do we do?
We did. Yeah, right. It's got to be probably a yearly or every other year thing where you dig into it and say,
how do we review this? Like what portions are up for review and what portions are not, right? Like as we roadmap this out. Right. And like to your point, we don't have a ton of land left in the city of St. George. There's tons of land left in Washington. And based on what I've heard in these other conversations I've had with city council members, they're planning on annexing more property, which would make it the largest city in Washington County, make it larger than Hurricane if they annex the part of the property that they want to. So, that might be contingent on why they haven't done a 20-year plan, because they're like, well, we might have more land than we actually have right now. But to your point, saying like, okay, well, how often do they look at this, and then how do we communicate it to the developers and the community and the citizens?
Big bad developers,
the California developers, the big bad developers. And then Hurricane, I think they've done a great job. One thing I will note too with the Hurricane 20-year plan is that they leave the lake alone. Like they basically don't put any real focus into. They do some, but like out by Sand Hollow, they've kind of said, hey, our 20-year plan is like right here where we have infrastructure already set up that has capacity, right? So instead of spreading themselves out and saying, hey, we're going to go put a fire station all the way out at Copper Rock, because in the future there might be a bunch of homes here. How do we really focus on giving direction for the properties that are right there along SR9 and down in the Main Street area where there's already existing commercial, already existing schools, already existing infrastructure, which I thought was really smart. I think they really were thoughtful about it. And that's where, in future iterations, when they come back to it, they can say, okay, hey, here's a little bit more of a roadmap with Sand Hollow. But a lot of that gets out of control because, if there's a bunch of private land out there, developers want to do something, but it also makes them have to go before the city council and make their case of why they want to change whatever is made. So something to think about. So residential, commercial, let's hit the next one. So residential areas to watch. So east, we broke it down: east side, west side, and south block. Now this is going to be throughout the whole county. So on the east side, Toquerville. So if you're not familiar with Firelight, I definitely think you should research that. Toquerville, Utah, Toquerville, Toquerville, Utah. There's a huge development going in there. Thousands of homes, big 55 plus community development going out there. A little bit higher elevation, so you got some cedar trees up there. It's kind of just right as you start to bend around I-15 up to New Harmony. So it's between New Harmony and Leeds, Utah, is Toquerville. But there's an exit with a new road, but a massive development with a lot of them are going to have beautiful views, brand new area. If you're looking at the video, you can see the outline of the city of Toquerville. But I think that's something you should definitely pay attention to if you're not familiar with it yet.
They're doing another golf course out there, yeah?
I can't remember what amenities. I would imagine yes on a golf course, but I'm going to leave my opinion to myself on that one. West side, Black Desert and Davario. Obviously, Black Desert is just about complete. October 2024, we will be hosting the PGA Tour, which is awesome. If you don't know Black Desert, you for sure need to reach out to us so we can give you updates on what's going on there. Mainly going to be vacation
total
resorts.
resort, though, isn't going to be done. Just the golf course.
Yeah, just the golf course. But
there's a lot going
all
on.
the residences and the purchases of the residences. They've done one phase of golf condos, but there's a whole family subdivision, like where there's going to be like a water park and all kinds of stuff that will be going in, and I know they'll be start taking reservations for that as well over the next year. So Black Desert, if you're interested in that golf course, Red Rock, Snow Canyon, you for sure want to reach out to us about Black Desert.
Speaking of Black Desert, just a highlight, I was so shocked on our episode when we talked to Patrick about Black Desert and the water park there, and understanding that they're so efficient with their water use that it's going to actually use less water than homes if they put homes on the same square footage as a water park. Really interesting.
Well, it's the same thing.
If somebody hasn't listened to that episode, check that one out.
It's the same thing too with the golf course in general as well, is that the water usage on that course versus a course that would have been built like, St. George, Bloomington, Red Hills, those kinds of courses, the water efficiency on these courses are definitely top of the line, which is pretty cool. Yeah, good point. Well, if you haven't listened to that episode, Patrick Manning.
Yeah, I don't know specifically with Black Desert, but I know there's some areas around town, like that Immaculate Homes development out there with the surf park and Desert Color. They tap aquifers that are non-potable water,
right?
And it's water that wouldn't have been used anyway. So a lot of people get really upset or have a strong opinion on water, but it's efficient ways to use it.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart people. If you haven't listened to the water episode, I talked to Zach Renstrom with Water Conservancy District. There's a lot of smart people working on water, and when you see developments come out of the ground like this, there was a lot of due diligence. There was a lot of environmental protection rules and regulations. A lot of them have to go through. So thinking about some of these developments, they do go through a pretty rigorous inspection period as to whether they can actually fulfill what they're doing or not. At least here in Southern Utah, I can't speak for everywhere else and what has happened in the past, but I know here they do a good job with that. But to your point, Desert Color also, they have a bunch of water out there that's so salty they can't make it potable water without running through a whole new water treatment facility that we just don't have the.
Yeah, but they can keep it chlorinated.
But exactly.
So you can swim in it.
So
it's fine. So
you can do other stuff with it.
This is a little bit, maybe a little bit of a side note and a little bit anecdotal, but I think, one of the concerns with water is like, am I going to come home one day from work and turn my hose and there not be water coming out? And I think that's a bit extreme. Maybe it's a like a back of your mind type concern, but
I've even seen articles with like small towns that are on the far eastern part of the state of Utah, and even in I think Colorado and Arizona both, where they had like these small towns where there's like no more water. I saw the Apple Valley one for an example. Yeah. But when you really dig into why those things happened, that's a whole huge mismanagement. It's like a comedy of errors typically when that's happened. Utter negligence.
But my personal opinion on to your point of there's a lot of really smart people working on water is that I think moving forward we have a pretty good plan for St. George City in the area.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, so the west side, Davario would be the other area on the west side that I would watch because they are currently building homes for sale. Most of the builders are putting out 2 to 3 every single month, new construction. Most of them have views. They fit almost the perfect profile for that young retiree that we were just looking at as the profile. Davario would definitely be another area I would watch. And then South Block. So the school and institutional land trust lands, or now Utah Trust Lands Association, rebranded is to UTLA. They own 10,000 acres on the south part of town. So you want to click, you stay right here. If you're looking at the map, or if you know where Desert Color is, there's a highlighted area over there that is basically all of that UTLA property. It's 10,000 acres that they are going to develop. They've already started with Desert Color, and they're going to continue marching down that road. I know the University of Utah has now put a campus there. IHC has property that they're developing currently right now. We have grocery stores going in there. We see our first commercial going in right there off exit 2.
I heard they're putting a Trader Joe's in down there too.
You heard that? Start the rumor mill. Yeah, it was
a joke. It was a joke.
My sources tell me it's going to be in Washington, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Hashtag sources.
Hashtag. Yeah. Off the record.
Yeah.
On the record. Whatever.
Pretty sure podcast is on the record.
I don't know about that. So yeah, all of the South Block though. If you're looking on the south part of Washington County along SR7, that is really going to be where 90% of the new development is going to go in the next 5 years. I probably would say like 90%, like the biggest growth portions are going to be right there in the South Block. And because of that, if I'm looking to buy right now and I can forecast out what my life would look like in 2 years, right? Right now, it might feel like it's really far. There's not really any amenities or commercial options and things out there right at the moment. We're right there on the verge of a big push, because including this area, right off the St. George Airport, they're putting in a big commercial industrial complex that's going to employ a lot of people. So people are going to want to be coming and living on this south part of the block, and it's definitely an area to watch. Here, let's click next slide there, Mal.
Hey, side note, they've gone vertical on that Smith's Marketplace too, right off of exit 2. Yeah.
I see those cinder blocks. They're throwing them up there every day. Smith Marketplace right by Sun River. It's definitely needed in that area. Okay, commercial areas to watch. So South Block, going back to that, I think this is the top commercial area to watch. Back to your point, I mean, technically that's right across the street from this desert color area. Is that
it'll serve that whole
Smith's
area for now, though. I've heard that they're putting a grocery store in like right next to Desert Color.
Yeah,
they haven't announced who it is or when, but
which is funny. Is 2019? Did you know Costco announced that they were going to do a Whole Foods, and on the map in the release, I wish I had the article.
Amazon. Costco doesn't.
I'm sorry, Amazon. Amazon announced Whole Foods was going. They were going to open 2 in Utah, and they put a star up north and they put a star down south. And then COVID happened, and then obviously I could see how grocery chains, their whole business model, right? They reevaluated. But I know that was for sure released. Now they didn't say exactly where it was going, but in my mind, that would be a great location for it. But some type of big box grocery store, I think, is going to go down there in Desert Color because the amount of people and projection population is going to be right there.
I'd guess it would be like a Harmon's or a Lynn's or something like that, but who knows? For now, that's Smith's Marketplace.
Harmon's is pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, for sure. That's Smith's Marketplace will serve, Bloomington and Sun River and Desert Color.
Yeah, for sure. Then we're going to go over to Tech Ridge. This is my favorite development, and we're finally on liftoff. After getting all the approvals from school districts and city and all that stuff. So Tech Ridge, their first, there's a few things already up there, but they're not necessarily part of like the Tech Ridge full-blown master scenario. And we're going to see probably 6 to 10 new office and commercial type buildings pop up on Tech Ridge over the course of the next 18 months. So there's a bunch of new office space, but then also the Planston, I think it's called the Planston building, is going to start to take shape. I think it's about 800,000 square feet of office space. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that. So if somebody wants to fact check me, I know Isaac's potentially listening, but we're going to have Isaac on the show at the end of this week. So next week, we're going to talk to Isaac specifically about Tech Ridge. Then we're going to move on to Exit 13. Right there in Washington, there's going to be an auto mall. There's going to be Grapevine Crossing. There's going to be a new hospital group that's coming in right there off Exit 13 as well. And as you curve around that parkway, that's Washington Parkway, that road is eventually supposed to connect all the way to the west side where Black Desert is off of Red Hills Parkway. We'll see how that goes. They're still needing congressional approvals because it's BLM land that we're putting a road through, but Exit 13 would connect to that. So this is going to be kind of another big junction in the county over the next 5 to 10 years. And the commercial stuff's coming out of the ground. I know the auto mall stuff's coming out of the ground probably this year specifically, and a few more commercial spots in Grapevine Crossing just around the circus that's right there off the exit. Washington Fields, Little Valley, they're all residentially built out already. So now hopefully commercial can now justify going into whatever's left over, whatever parcels are left over, which I know, especially on 3000, there's a few developments that are the commercials already like in the processes. So we're going to see some relief for that traffic jam.
Urgent cares going on out there.
Urgent care,
already
right?
A couple small like little restaurants, like coffee shop type restaurants and boutique type stuff, but a couple gas stations.
River Crossing, that'll probably finish up, which is going to be a bunch of commercial stuff right there.
That's massive.
At a big junction for them because the traffic, you got to go up River Road. Obviously, you have the only Target in the county is on River Road. You got to go past River Crossing if you're in the Fields or Little Valley. So anyway, you're going to see commercial out there in the Fields, Little Valley. Black Desert, again, a commercial. It's an area to watch in 2024 because they're hosting the PGA, but the rest of the commercial stuff that's planned is probably looking like it's going to be another 12 to 18 months before they even really start to push on it. From what I understand, looks like the residential stuff will be first once they finish with the hotel and convention center. And then we put a question mark in Hurricane because we're just not quite sure exactly. I think there's a lot of approvals, like stuff's been approved.
That Sand Hollow Gateway's massive. You
Sand
got the
Hollow,
Jellystone, the Pecan Valley Resort. There's going to be a bunch. I think they're putting us. Well, at least the school district owns some land out there. There's a fire station going on out there, and there's, I think, I've heard plans for a couple thousand.
Do you think there's going to be a whole lot of shopping, like added shopping and stuff like that? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be more like resorty type stuff.
Yeah, resort or lifestyle living out there a little bit.
Yeah.
People that are willing to drive in for the amenities.
Yeah, like the Jellystone Resort will have some shops and stuff like that there, but
I know we should do like a whole separate like vacation areas to watch, right? Because commercials like that, there's that vein, and then in southern Utah, especially because the cities caught on really quickly about the short-term rental and how quickly it can spiral out of control with all different kinds of neighborhoods allowing short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And the developer went in and filled the gap. Is like, oh, we'll do these like resort type subdivisions where you go to the city and say, hey, this subdivision itself is all gonna be short-term rental and it's gonna have its own amenities there that'll keep people there.
It's enclosed essentially, so people are gonna go and stay.
Yep. There's some security to that, right? Where you're not having like this big flow of traffic into average neighborhoods. You kind of can isolate it into specific subdivisions. And Hurricane, I think, has done a good job at that as well. There's quite a few that have popped up. I know Elam Valley, like you said, Pecan Valley. There's the Zion Estates. It's right there off SR7. It's a specific vacation rental. So if you're interested, if you're listening to this and you're like, we kind of thinking a vacation rental spot, Hurricane is going to be a great spot. There's going to be some in Desert Color. There's a little bit of vacation stuff potentially left in Black Desert, but that might be gone already. And then I know Virgin, they have a couple of subdivisions that are short-term rental zoned. They keep it pretty close to their chest. There's not a whole ton of units, but if I was looking for a return on my investment and looking for short-term vacation rentals, Virgin is a city I would definitely look at.